boys and girls. My name is Miss Lisa, and we're here at the Fayette County Public Library, and this is a show called Science Isn't Scary. Today we are going to be talking about leaves and trees. All right, come here and look, guys. Leaves are wonderful, and leaves are so important to us. Leaves are on a tree, and boys and girls, did you know that trees are alive? They are alive and growing and working, and leaves are so important to us. All right, boys and girls, if you look at a leaf, this is a big, broad leaf. These leaves go through a process called photosynthesis. Your teachers may have had that word at school, and you're like, oh, that's such a big word. That's so scary. But it's a process word, boys and girls. It teaches us that leaves make food. The leaves have this big, broad surface to be able to soak in the energy from the sun. So the sun comes down, and the leaf soaks up that energy. And while it's soaking up that energy from the sun, it's transforming that into sugar that it can use so that it can grow. Did you know also that leaves sort of breathe? They work for us. These leaves produce oxygen, and oxygen is what we need to breathe. You know what? I've always told my students they should go out and hug a tree, because trees are so important to us here on Earth. Without those trees, we would not have the oxygen that we need to breathe. So go out and tell a tree thank you today. Now, I want to show you a quick little experiment that you can do at home that can show you that leaves breathe. Now, they don't breathe like you and I breathe, but they do produce oxygen. And we can see that oxygen with a very simple little experiment. What you need to do is go outside and pick yourself a fresh leaf. Okay, find one that's green, one that's growing, one that's healthy. Get yourself a leaf, and you need a little tub of water and a rock. If you can look down here, I've already put my leaves under the water, and I've put some rocks on top to hold them down. Now, if you look very carefully, and you might need a magnifying glass, but there are little air bubbles all over these leaves. These leaves have been breathing while they have been underwater. Okay? They're not going to come to the surface. It doesn't look. Oh, there's some. They came to the surface. There's some really big ones over here. Oh, did you see that, boys and girls? That bubble came right up. Now, the reason those bubbles come up off of the water is that air is lighter than water, so it pops up. Have you guys ever been in a pool and been under the water, and you've held your breath while you went down, 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 and then you let the air go and those bubbles went to the surface? That's what's happening to this leaf. Those air bubbles are filled with oxygen, and it's a gas, and it's lighter than the water, and so it rises to the surface. That's a really cool experiment that you can do at home. Now, you can't see those air bubbles right away. You need to set your tub out in the sun for at least an hour, and then go back and look, and you'll see air bubbles everywhere. So that is a quick, easy thing to show you and demonstrate to you that that leaves breathe, that trees are alive, and that they are growing. Now, leaves are just so wonderful that teachers in school, they love to do things with leaves. They like to ask you to make a collection. They might even ask you to do some art. Now, let me show you one thing really quick on a leaf. If you come over here with me, I have a piece of paper, and there's actually a leaf underneath it. And if you take a crayon and you start just scribbling across where that leaf is hiding underneath, you will be able to see some parts of a leaf. This big, long, middle one is called your midrib. And all these other little lines that show through with this crayon are called the veins. And that is what helps the leaf in photosynthesis to take the sugars and move it from the broad side of the leaf down the veins, down that midrib into the trunk of the tree to help it grow. Now, this little leaf rubbing project would be great for you to do at home. It doesn't take very long and it's so beautiful. So I hope you will try it and then label the parts of the leaf. Now, like I said, leaves are so wonderful. Your teacher probably somewhere in school is going to ask you to make a collection. Leaves are very important to us, and we need to be able to identify them. Now, if you come here, I want to show you two different ways that you could make a collection. You can get a poster board and glue your leaves to a big giant poster board and then label the leaves. You could also just get yourself a binder with some page protectors and put the leaves in there and label it as well. Those are two very simple ways to do a leaf collection. Now, I've got a quiz for you boys and girls. In my books over here that I have covered up with leaves, in my books I have some pressed leaves, some ones that are very common to this area. And I'm going to give you a little quiz. Okay, I've got about 12 leaves. I'm going to hold one up and see if you already know the name. How smart are you with leaves? Let's get the test started. What I want you to do is, if you can say the name before I give you the name, give yourself a point. And let's see how many leaves you can already identify. I'm going to start with a very simple one. What about this, boys and girls? Do you know the name of this leaf? If you said maple, give yourself a point. Now, this is two different varieties of maple. We have our sugar maple and our red maples, but there are a lot of maples in this area. Go out and find yourself a maple leaf. So that's the first one you ought to know. All right. What about this one, boys and girls? Anybody know? This is the state tree of Indiana. Does that help? This is the tulip poplar. If you said that, give yourself a point. That's leaf number 2. Oh, what else do we have in here? This is one of my favorites. Any ideas about this leaf, boys and girls? What if I turn it this way? What does it look like to you? If you said it looks like a heart, that gives you a clue. Hearts are red. And in fact, in the spring, when this tree first blooms and the leaves first come out, the leaf is red. So this leaf is called, you got it, it's a red bud. That's right. All right, we're up to leaf number 4. Now, what about these? This comes from the same family of trees, although they look very different. You may recognize this one, but not this one. Any clues? If you said oak, you'd be right, okay? This is our white oak, and this is our chinkapin oak, okay? So sometimes oaks look a little bit different, and if you're not sure what leaf you have, let me stop just a minute and tell you, you should come to the library and get a field guide. Or you could buy one off of Amazon. Field guides are awesome. They give you pictures, they give you what kind of bark, they give you what kind of seed pod, and it helps you to easily identify the leaves that are in our area. All right, we're still going on with our quiz. Let's see, what about this one, boys and girls? Can you identify it? What's its name? It's a very easy one in my opinion. Take a look at the edge. I call this the chainsaw edge. Okay, doesn't it sort of look like the edge of Dad's chainsaw blade? This is an elm. Okay, they will always have those little pokey edges to them. It's easy to see. What else might be in here? This is one of our big ones, boys and girls. We have some leaves around here that have, or trees around here that have some very big leaves. This leaf actually comes from a tree that has a fruit on it. And I actually found a fruit last night out in my woods. Here's the fruit that goes with the tree. Now, does anybody guess what it is? Have you seen this before? This is the pawpaw. Now, this is not ripe. They will turn yellow. Some people call them the Indiana banana. So that's something to be looking forward to. All right. Here's another leaf. I don't know what we're up to yet. I think this might be number 6. This leaf is very different because it's very plasticky. It doesn't have the regular leaf feel to it. Do you know what it is? It starts with a G. It's down by our courthouse. If you go to the Fayette County Public Courthouse, there are a whole row of these trees. Have you guessed? It's the ginkgo. Okay, so go look for a ginkgo. We have just a couple more. This one is actually, guys, look at this. You have a regular leaf. You have a lobed leaf. You sort of have a dinosaur paw print leaf. All 3 of these leaves actually come from the same tree. Okay, a very unique tree that has 3 leaves that are very different. And this is the mulberry. All right, a couple more. Where is the last one? All right, this one is a very simple little leaf, but it's called the Osage Orange. Some people call it the hedge apple. Now, a hedge apple is those great big green fruits that you might see that look all bumpily, sort of like a brain. Okay, you might want to see one of those sometimes. And this is the leaf that comes from the hedge apple. Now, boys and girls, all the leaves that I gave you on that little quiz were simply a one leaf arrangement. Some trees have more than one leaf on its arrangement. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is actually a whole leaf. These are leaflets. Okay, so can anyone name this one? Can you guess what this is? If you said willow, you were right. We have quite a few trees out there like this in Indiana, and they are called compound leaves because there's more than one on the stem. Let me show you a couple others that you might see around here. This is a very popular one. It's not the one that people like. This is the ash. Okay, the ash trees, a lot of people are allergic to, and also they also have a little insect that eats them from the inside out. So these trees sometimes get rotten really quick, but as you can see, it's a compound leaf. All right, I have a couple other ones. This is, to me, a very pretty leaf, a pretty compound leaf, because it has all these itty bitty little leaflets. Do you know what this one is? This is the honey locust. Now, boys and girls, if you collect a honey locust, be very careful because they have thorns like this long on them. So be very careful and pull just the leaf. Okay, this is the whole leaf. Pull it off and stay away from the stem where the thorns are. All right. We also have the black walnut. Okay, and here is a walnut. Sometimes you might get extra credit if you collect the seed pod that goes with the leaf. So this is a walnut, and then this one also looks very much like what I just showed you, but it's a hickory. And this is a hickory nut. So boys and girls, sometimes you may have to find the fruit that goes with the leaf in order to be able to identify it. We have a lot of really cool seed pods here in Indiana too. So you have things like this. This is from the locust. You have your buckeyes, which are nice and smooth. You have several others. Oh, forgot to show you this one. Look at that little pokeball. Okay, it's very sharp, and it comes from a tree that has one of the largest leaves around here. Woo, look at this. It comes with these little pokey seeds. This is a sycamore, one of my favorites. All right, boys and girls, these are all broadleaf trees. Now, the big fancy science word for these is deciduous. Your teachers may have told you that. A deciduous tree is a tree where the leaves actually fall down. They fall off in the autumn and they lose all their leaves. The other type of tree that scientists use is either deciduous or conifer. And a conifer, boys and girls, are the trees that are evergreen. Now, I just have one more little point I want to make, boys and girls. Not all evergreen trees are pine trees. Evergreen trees, conifers, make their seed in a cone. Now, cones come in all different sizes. Here are just a couple. Not all of these are pine cones, boys and girls. I believe this one is a spruce. Okay, so you really, if you are going to do some needle leaves, okay, if you're going to put some needles in your collection, be very careful in their identification because they are definitely not all pine trees. All right, boys and girls, that was just a little glimpse today into the world of leaves. Leaves are just awesome. I love them, and they help us breathe because they produce oxygen. If you catch all this, guys, and get and understand it, you will learn that science really isn't scary. It can be a lot of fun. I hope that you will go outside today, look at the trees around you, see if you can find some of the ones that I showed you today. All right, boys and girls, I hope you'll join me again next week here at the Fayette County Public Library for Science Isn't Scary.